Hey guys, so today's video is going to be on hair. It's been a while since I've done a hair related video, so I thought it was time for one. I get a lot of questions on my hair, so I felt like doing a video just kind of talking you through. The title obviously is going to be about lace frontals and how I maintain it and my tips and tricks on how to lay, snatch, whatever you want to call it, my hair. So I actually just filmed a hairstyles video as well, how to style frontals. So this is one of the hairstyles, so that should be up soon as well. Then I decided to go on to Snapchat to ask you guys what questions you wanted answered as well. So I'm going to include it in this video. So I'm going to do the Q&A now, and some of the questions are actually what I was showing you in the kind of like tutorial part of this video. So there was a question asking what is a lace frontal. So a lace frontal is basically what I have on my head right now, which looks like my actual hair. Like, it looks like hair is growing out of my scalp. It is basically the easiest thing to describe it is like a hair piece that goes from one ear to the other. So it's literally this wide, well this long. So it goes from ear to ear, and it kind of goes all the way like maybe to back here. So it's about 13 inches by 4. And it literally just has lace and it has hair attached to it. So basically you can part it in different ways, you can braid it, you can do different things, and it looks like you have your hair coming out from your hairline. So that's that. So lately I've been getting wigs, and I basically won't go back to sewing because I just prefer wigs because they're so much more versatile. You can take them off, you can try different styles. You can be blonde today, brunette tomorrow, have a bob the next day, have like curls the next day after that. So it's very versatile. Plus you can actually access your natural hair and take care of it however way you do so. So my hairstyle, my hair are usually wigs. I mean, back in the day I was doing sew-ins and stuff like that. My wigs, my frontal wigs are glueless. When you first have it done, it is quite tight, so it stays on, but after a while, if you take off your wigs every night and you're putting it on, that kind of like on and off thing would kind of stretch the band, so it would kind of loosen up. So what I actually do, that honestly, like, it's so easy, is just to add pins to my hair. So I have pins all over, so I'm going to show you how I attach and where I attach the pins so that the hair doesn't move about and doesn't shift back. The kind of pins you need in your life, especially for this kind of for this wig, are the really long ones, because they can go through a larger area than the normal thin ones. So you need to invest in the long hair pins, the grips. So I feel for my braids, and I put the pins through there going downwards or going like sideways, depending on how the shape of the pins are. So going downwards, and then when it gets to like the closer I get to my hairline, I actually pierce through the lace and pierce through it, and then slide it so I can like slide it through my braids underneath. Sometimes I also do it at the top here, but I didn't have to today. I just have like, I think I have like two hair, well 1, 2, and usually I would put it, because my hair is usually parted to the side, so you never really see what's going on this side of my face. But if I do have it like this, as you can see, I would make sure that this part is flat. Okay, so what is the braid pattern of my natural hair? So the braid pattern currently is just normal cornrows going all the way back, and it makes the hair flat basically. It's always good if your natural hair is flat and braided underneath so that the frontal can lay flat as well. So the flatter your natural hair or your head is, the flatter the frontal can lay. If you're not gluing your frontals, I would suggest having 2 braids going down the side, because then you can then put your pins in. Do I prefer silk or lace? I'm guessing silk or lace frontals or silk or lace closures. I'm wearing frontals, so it really doesn't matter. It's all about preference. All this time I've been wearing frontals. They've been just normal lace frontals. They haven't been silk based. So silk based ones look a lot more natural. You don't get those dots that you get through the lace frontals. But it just depends on who or where you get them from. You would usually just bleach the knots of a lace frontal to make it look more natural, more like your natural scalp color. So it really doesn't matter. It's all about just personal preference. How do I stop it from lifting up? When you get your frontals done, when you first get it done, it's very flat and everything and it's perfect. But after a while, it does tend to lift up because obviously you have got a bit of lace kind of left in the front, and then your baby has to cover it up. After a while, it does lift up, especially at the sides, depending on how it's sewn. Sometimes it's not. With this wig, this side was a lot more flatter than this side. So like what I did was just literally to pierce the lace and put a pin through it so that it stays flat. It's not completely flat, but how I make it stay even flatter will then be shown in this next clip. I basically just use water and an old pair of tights like this. So what I do is to apply some water onto my baby hairs. The best way to hide the lace from lifting is to maybe cut or like trim some baby hairs. First of all, my wigs are customized. I don't customize my wigs myself. The frontal has been customized by my hairdresser or hairstylist. I don't like pick and pluck the frontal because I just don't know how to do it really well. I think I tried it once and I ruined it, so I just let her do it and then I come home and I do the rest myself. So she would literally pluck it and then she would kind of cut a little bit of baby hairs. I can easily either add some more or brush it back if I don't want it. I always ask her to make sure it's long so I can easily trim the baby hairs myself, if that makes sense. So the way to keep it staying flat without glue and tape is to basically just spritz your baby hairs with water and then just take a hairband, or sorry, an old pair of tights like so, and just kind of lay it onto the baby hairs and just like tie it like that. And usually I do this overnight, which means I sleep with my wigs. So before I was doing frontals, I would tend not to sleep with my wigs. I was having sew-ins done before, so I was used to sleeping with my wigs, my weaves. So with this one, I don't really mind. It depends. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. If you don't want to sleep with it, you can always just do this before, like while you're getting ready, while you're doing your makeup. So about half an hour to an hour with this on tight should keep the hairs flat. And if you don't want to apply gel to your hairline, you don't like that kind of like wet sleek look, then this is the best way to do it, because when it's dry and when it's done, it looks more natural than having like that gel like finish to your baby hairs, if that makes sense. But if I feel like I'm gonna be out for a while or something, I actually use the Swashcoff Got To Be Glued water resistant spiking glue, and it's not really glue, it's like gel, but it just has a better hold. So I just apply this to some areas, especially the sides sometimes, and just a little, and it stays for quite a while. It is not waterproof. If you sweat, it will come off, it will like lift up. Is it better to glue or sew in or just have it as a wig, your lace frontals? Again, this is personal preference. Some people prefer to glue or tape their frontals because it's just a lot more secure. Another question was, can they be sewn in? Because they tend to be sewn onto wigs. So they can be sewn in like a regular lace closure, which is just sewn into your actual braid. So you don't have to have it attached to a wig. Which one's better? Lace closures or lace frontals? There isn't really one that's better. It's, again, personal preference. How long should you keep it installed for? So with lace frontals, I feel like they have like a point where it's just, you have to have it redone because they do eventually like shed. And again, it depends on how you take care of them. If you want to brush your hair regularly, then it will eventually just fall out because the lace frontal isn't as full as a regular weft. It's more delicate, so things like braids, knots and stuff like that constantly can pull it out. And obviously brushing your hair with the wrong kind of hairbrush as well. What I use is a large paddle brush just to brush my hair, and I try to make sure when I'm doing the top where the frontal is, I make sure I'm very, very gentle with it. It helps not to sleep with your wigs as well, because then it wouldn't like, I know some people sleep with their wigs with like a headscarf. I don't sleep with a headscarf. If I have my wigs on, I just sleep. So I guess headscarves will be a good thing as well if you do sleep with your wigs. If not, then if you take them off, they're more likely to last longer. If you are used to taking them off and on again, when you're trying to put it back on your head, you do tend to like, touch the lace, the hairline part. So all that moving and tugging and everything can also pull out some hairs, and you don't realize until after a while. So eventually it does pull out. And it's usually like around the hairline, and you start to see a lot of lace that wasn't there before, that was covered with the hair. So I think the best way is to make sure you're brushing with the right hairbrush. If you're sleeping with it, make sure you use a headscarf. If you're not, make sure you're very careful once you're putting it back on your head. The best tool for lace frontals and laying your edges and hairline is this brush. This is like one of those. This is a teasing comb, and this is perfect because it just kind of like brushes the hair in place. If you're applying gel, it just kind of it just moves the hair a lot easier than having to use your fingers. Obviously, if you sew down your frontals, it is so much more secure. You can obviously kind of make the sides a lot more secure too. But if you're not doing any of that, it can sometimes, depending on who does it for you, it can sometimes be tricky. Sometimes there are some lace frontals that don't have baby hairs that still look perfect. I think it also depends on the kind of lace that's used. I think the thinner the lace is, it's easier for it to look like scalp. But depending on where you get your lace frontals from, you might have to use baby hairs to hide the lace frontal. Where do I get my frontals from? So lately I've been using the same person, and I get my frontals and my wigs made by Honey Hand Salon, and they're based in East London in Leytonstone. So literally every time you see my hair being done, it's from them, and they provide the hair and they provide the frontal. So I don't really know how much they cost because it's all complimentary. I don't have like a top 3 or top 5 places to get frontals from because I've never actually bought a frontal before. How do you prevent shedding? I feel like shedding when it comes to your frontal is inevitable. It will eventually shed. Like I said, depending on how well you keep it, you can have it lasting for about a month and a half to about 2 months if you're lucky. So about a couple of months. Sometimes some people can get away with for having it a lot longer than that. The easiest way to kind of hide the fact that a lot of lace is showing is just to colour it in with like dark brown pencil or dark brown eyeshadow, and that's usually how I get away with it. But after a while it will be difficult to just use that because it'd be obvious that there is a lot of hair missing. It is easy to maintain if they're not glued and taped down. I find a lot easier. When you have to glue it down and tape it down, you do have to reapply the glue, and it gets very like messy and everything. You have to cut off some of the lace and all that stuff. As well, even without the glue, you would have to cut off some lace because like I said, it does start to shed from the edge going back, so you would have to start cutting it. But after a while, you can't cut it any longer because it would just look short. So that's it. I really hope this helped you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more hair videos, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.